So good morning everyone and welcome to the morning meet. First we'll start with technicals and derivative updates. So what we saw on Friday is basically Nifty did open at a sharp downtick of 70 odd points and it did retest 15,500 levels on an intraday basis, but took support near those levels and it didn't broke that on the closing basis, so it held it on the closing basis, and we did saw some sharp recovery runs from 15,500 odd mark where and we closed almost near the day's high point. So it was at almost 200, 280 odd points recovery from the lows. And the downtick was mainly back on the key losses in the oil index major Reliance, which was down almost 8 to 9% on an intraday basis. So it weighed very heavily on the index. But barring Reliance, all the other sectors were doing fine. Even if we see the broader markets witness sharp outperformance, wherein the mid cap and the small cap index closed very with good gains of almost half odd percent. Even on the sectoral indices, if we see, then barring oil and gas index, which closed down by 4%, mainly on the back of cuts in Oil India, ONGC, and Reliance, all other indices closed in the green, while FMCG was the best performing sector. The index closed with gains of over 2%, mainly led by gains in ITC and Britannia, and falling palm oil prices aided well for the FMCG sector as a whole. And even the reality sector closed with gains of over a percentage, while Nifty IT, metal and pharma too closed with decent gains. So what we are seeing basically in the technical setup, that Nifty is taking support near the 15,500, 15,600 odd mark, and it is facing resistance near 15,900 odd mark. So till we don't give a decisive close below 15,500 or above 15,920, we might continue to oscillate in this range of 300-400 points with a very choppy move and very sharp moves on an intraday basis. Even on Bank Nifty, what we saw is it did open with a sharp downtick, but from the lows, it saw almost 700 points worth of rally, and it did close near the high point, and it outperformed the Nifty index for the second straight day. Even for the Bank Nifty, it is the same case, wherein it is taking support near 33,000 odd mark, while 34,150 it is finding it difficult to cross this level. So till we don't cross these levels, there is if we don't break 33,000 lower side on closing basis and 34,150 on the higher basis, we might continue to oscillate in this 1,000 point range. And if we break 34,150, then the rally can be extended towards 34,500 and 35,002. While if we break 33,000, then 32,500 and 32,300 would be the likely price points that we'll touch. From the institutional equity, what we saw in the cash market is FI did had a net sell figure of 2,324 crores, while DI had a net buy figure of 1,310 crores. And on the derivative front, what we saw is Nifty future OI did saw some reduction of in open interest, that is 3.62 million shares were reduced, and the total outstanding position stands at 13.44 million shares. And the Nifty PCR OI2 saw some sharp uptick, wherein it closed at 1.14 as compared to its previous close of 1.05 levels. On the option front, what we saw is major additions were seen in 15,600 and 15,400 puts. So the additions were to the tune of 1.90 and 2.1 million shares. So basically 15,400 and 15,600 should act as immediate support for the Nifty as per the data, while the call front 15,700 and 15,900 strike saw some addition to the tune of 1.46 and 1.35 million shares. So as per the option open interest positions, it suggests that 15,400 and 15,900 should be the range for the time being. And even Bank Nifty to some saw some long additions wherein the OI jumped by almost 11%, and the total OI stands at 27.75 lakh shares. And FI in the derivative market, they had in index future, they had a net sell figure of 542 crores, Index option, they had a buy figure of 400 crores. Stock futures, they had a net buy figure of 317 crores. By stock option, they had a net sell figure of 249 crores. And on the call front, in the technical report, we have given buy in PVR. You can buy in the range of 1878 to 1888 with a stop of 1841. Target can be placed at 1963. While in the derivative report, we have given buy on Gujarat Cash futures, wherein you can buy in the range of 420 to 424. Stop can be placed at 414. Target is 438. So that would be it from my side. I'll pass it over to Vishal sir for further research updates. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning. So a couple of news updates. First is on DMart. DMart came out with its first quarterly update in terms of how the revenue has grown, and the numbers were pretty strong at 95% YoY revenue growth in Q1 of FY23. Though revenue growth was also supported by the comparatively low base, because if you recall, Q1 of FY22 there was a COVID period, and there were a couple of days which got impacted, but still I think 100% increase or 95% increase which DMart has reported is pretty strong. In terms of store count, DMart has added 10 odd stores, and now total store count is around 294. I mean, based on the number of provisional number the company has shared, we think it's a very positive, and we maintain our buy rating on the stock with the target price of 4,287. Next is on NMDC, though the coverage is not there, but I think they have reported the provisional numbers in terms of production and sales for the month of June. Its iron ore sales fell by around 40% YoY basis and 28% on month-on-month basis. This is only for the June month period. And while if you look at the production wise, it was down by around 14% on YoY, and again it was down 20% on month-on-month. And if you look at absolute number point of view, the numbers are lowest in terms of what the production they have done since October 22, and this is primarily due to the drop which they witnessed is primarily due to the 15% export duty imposed on the steel products, and this is getting reflected in terms of numbers if you look at NMDC. Next is on APL Apollo. The APL Apollo has reported its Q1 the sales volume number, and it was up by 13% on YoY basis. Though there was a sequentially, it was dropped off around 23%. But what we understand is it is primarily due to channel destocking due to domestic steel prices correction. The company is targeting to achieve a revenue or sales volume of 1 million ton in the first half, which we think in the second quarter the numbers will improve from here on, and the ramp up on Raipur plant and healthy sales mix will drive the sales volume. Overall, I think on the stock point of view, we have a buy rating on the stock with a target price of 1,129. Next is on hotel side. If you look at, so hotel room occupancy dipped below 5% in Udaipur, and that is primarily due to the severe law and order situation which is prevailing in that side of Rajasthan. And as per the industry estimate, hotel occupancy could come down to 5% or below, and that is primarily if these things could continue, if there's no reassurance from the government side. This is actually negative from all the leading players, as they have strong presence, leading player in terms of the hotel industry. They have strong presence in the city, and the meaningful contribution is there on the top line. And near term the revenue loss could be there, but in terms of numbers wise, it could be visible in the second quarter of FY23. First quarter doesn't look like that much getting impacted. In terms of our recommendation point of view, we currently have a buy on Indian Hotel and Chalet, and we have a hold on LTH. Though in near term this particular thing is negative for hotel industry, but overall I think we have seen a pretty strong set of footfalls until this incidents came into picture. So probably we could see further once things situation normalizes, then further occupancy could pick up, and that could benefit the stocks going ahead. Next is on Bata India. It will expand its online presence through expanding in social media by introducing a social media contact with its customer. Now, this basically is aimed to showcase its product in the social media sites like Instagram and all, which will give a further footfall or probably further sales inquiry. Now, if you look at digitally enabled channel, represent around 15% of the company's overall sales, and company is planning to increase this further In terms of our recommendation, we have a buy rating on the stock with a target price of 2,181. Next is on banking side. So HDFC and HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited, they have received approval from stock exchanges. And if you look at both HDFC and HDFC Limited have received no observation certificate from the exchanges. And the scheme remained, though HDFC, sorry, though earlier on April 4, HDFC Bank announced the parent HDFC Limited merger, and incrementally now what is left is the CCI and then RBI approval for the conclusion of it. Currently, we have a positive view on both HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited. And in terms of pecking order, definitely, since it will be one entity going ahead, so HDFC Bank, it's better off vis-a-vis HDFC Limited going ahead. Next is on Muthoot. They get RBI approval to open around 550 odd new branches. And Muthoot as a company is the largest gold financing company in terms of loan portfolio. And the incremental branch approval, if you look at from overall, which is 3% of their existing branch. And this is positive for the company. And we currently have a buy rating on the stock with target price of 1,430. Last thing from my side is on auto side. So numbers were reported by most of the companies. Overall, the theme continued to remain the same. The PV side and the commercial vehicle side, we are seeing a strong set of numbers. And overall, if you look at Mahindra and Maruti remains our best bet. Mahindra, the company sold units, which is 49% year-on-year growth, which is there. And export volume was around 7%. And if you look at Maruti, then the numbers were up by around 6% on Y&Y basis for the company. In terms of recommendation, Maruti, M&M, and then in mid and small, we have Sonacom and SJS Enterprise are buy and positive recommendation in auto space. Yeah, that's it from my side, and I'll hand it to sir now. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vishal. Good morning, team. GST collection in June was 1,44,000 crores, now which is higher than May 22, and it is highest in second highest collection ever. Now, Coal India June 22 output is 51.6 million ton, registered a growth of 29%. And even when you compare the last 3 months, April to June, which is very, very important for the results, there is a good growth again of 29%. So these are very important. So even the dispatch has been very good. Bharat Forge has announced that it has completed previously announced acquisition of JAS Auto Cast Foundry. The total amount is for 89 crores. The existing foundry operation is in Sipcot. I think it is in Tamil Nadu, and it can be expanded from 21,768 ton per annum to 72,000 ton per annum. And the company JAS Auto is also having a unit in Coimbatore which has 28,800 ton per annum capacity, and this will support Bharat Forge in a very big way. Government came with a report with a tax on windfall tax on crude oil. So because of crude oil tax, Oil India, ONGC, Kane, that is Vedanta, and Hindustan Oil Exploration, they got impacted. The impact is $38 per barrel. That means it takes away the sheen out of these oil companies. So it is a bit negative. And even government has imposed tax on export also. So it has impacted Reliance and Nayara, which is not a listed company. Previously it was called SR Oil. These are two major exports from India. And even Chennai Petro, MRPL, these are standalone refineries which were making huge money by having some export, but they also got impacted. So now Reliance at 2,200 will be a value buy. Now, and government has said that these taxes will be reviewed every 15 days. And we need to understand oil marketing companies now have done a forward contract for petrol and diesel for next 2 months, that is July and August, because in many parts of India, petrol and diesel were not available. These companies like Reliance, they were importing low crude at a lower price and then exporting to Europe where there is a huge demand. And due to lockdown in China, the refining capacity was not available. So GRMs at $30-$35 are not sustainable. No, normally GRMs used to be at $6 to $8, but $30-$35 it has not happened in the lifetime of crude. So this is something which is very different. Endurance Technology said it has acquired 51% of equity stake in Maxwell for 135 crores and would acquire balance in a phased manner. Maxwell is a EV business of embedded electronic, particularly in battery management service. So over a period of time, it should be positive for Endurance Technology. Ultratech drops plan to buy JP plant for 1,000 crores as agreed. No, it should have happened by 30th June, but due to few things, they said they will not do it. And State Bank of India said gold loan portfolio has crossed 1 lakh crore as of 31st 1 lakh crore. And we need to understand they have a total loan book size of 28 lakh crore of 31st March. No, and 1 lakh crore of gold loan is huge for State Bank of India. It should be the largest gold finance. Already State Bank of India is the largest housing finance. It has a bigger book than HDFC also. There is a bad news for Indigo. On 2nd July, there were 55 flights, that is Saturday, which were running late, and the industry cited a reason that Air India, which is owned by Tata, had an interview for pilots. That is why many people have put medical leave, and there was a huge delay in flights of Indigo. Now HAL will be in focus as Malaysia says they will. Tejas will get the first choice. If it happens. And many banks have reported their numbers, provisional numbers. IndusInd Bank asset under management has increased by 18%, deposit at 13%. So their total loan book is 2,49,000 crores. Federal Bank has increased, loan book has increased by 16.3% at 1,54,000 crores. And deposit by 8.2% at 1,83,000 crores. And very important, one need to Parag Milk has reported a huge loss, and these are bad things in the balance sheet which has been written off. Very negative for Parag Milk and very small milk companies also. Deepak Nitrate in the exchange notification has said, no, they have started to operate nitro section. This was stopped due to the fire accident in June 2nd. Now 50% they have got permission to operate. With that, over to you, Sitija.
थैंक यू सर. गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन. अभी हम लोग ये कॉल को एक बार हिंदी में कर लेते हैं. सो फर्स्ट अपडेट जो है वो डीमार्ट के ऊपर है. डीमार्ट का जो Q1 का फाइनेंशियल ईयर 23 का अपडेट आया, उसमें जो रेवेन्यू है वो ग्रो हो चुका है 95% से ईयर ऑन ईयर, और जो क्वार्टर है वो 14% से इंक्रीज हुआ है. और जो ईयर ऑन ईयर जो ग्रोथ है वो ऑलमोस्ट डबल है, क्योंकि जो लो बेस था पैंडेमिक का इम्पैक्ट वो अभी ये क्वार्टर में इतना नहीं है. और कंपनी ने ड्यूरिंग द क्वार्टर 10 न्यू स्टोर्स ऐड किए हैं, और अभी जो उनका टोटल काउंट है वो 294 है. करंटली ये स्टॉक पे हमारा बाय रेटिंग है, जो टारगेट प्राइस है वो 4287 है. NMDC ने कल मंथली रिपोर्ट किया, मंथली सेल्स एंड प्रोडक्शन नंबर्स जो जून के नंबर्स है वो, जो उनका आयरन और सेल्स है वो 14% से डिक्रीज हुआ है ईयर ऑन ईयर, और 28% मंथ ऑन मंथ डिक्रीज हुआ है. और जो प्रोडक्शन है वो भी 14% से डिक्रीज हुआ है ईयर ऑन ईयर, और 20% जो हुआ है डिक्रीज वो मंथ ऑन मंथ हुआ है. ये जो बेसिकली जो हम लोगों ने ड्रॉप देखा है, क्योंकि वो जो गवर्नमेंट ने स्टील प्रोडक्ट्स पे 15% इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी सॉरी एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी इम्पोज की थी, इसके कारण ये ड्रॉप एनएमडीसी के जो मंथली सेल्स और प्रोडक्शन नंबर में हम लोगों ने देखा है। नेक्स्ट अपडेट है एपीएल अपोलो के ऊपर, जो Q1 का जो फाइनेंशियल ईयर 23 के जो सेल्स वॉल्यूम है वो 0.4 मिलियन टन्स है, और जो सिक्वेंशियल डिक्लाइन है वो इंडस्ट्री जो अभी डीस्टॉकिंग और डोमेस्टिक जो स्टील का जो करेक्शन है उसके वजह से दिख रहा है। और बट कंपनी काफी कॉन्फिडेंट है कि वो 1 मिलियन टन्स के जो सेल्स वॉल्यूम है फाइनेंशियल ईयर 23 में हाफ ईयर वो अचीव करेंगे, और वो मोस्टली रायपुर का जो उनका प्लांट है उससे ये अचीव करेंगे, और जो सेल्स है वो भी सो ओवरऑल कंपनी के ऊपर पॉजिटिव व्यू है लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए, और जो रेटिंग है वो बाय है, और जो टारगेट प्राइस है वो 1129 है। नेक्स्ट अपडेट है होटल सेक्टर के ऊपर। होटल रूम जो ऑक्यूपेंसी है वो डिप हो चुकी है ऑलमोस्ट 5% से इन उदयपुर, और जो मोस्टली जो कैंसलेशन है बुकिंग्स वो हो रहा है क्योंकि जो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का सिचुएशन हुआ है राजस्थान में उसके कारण। तो एक नेगेटिव होगा जो लीडिंग प्लेयर्स है अभी, और जो स्ट्रॉन्ग प्रेजेंस है वो सिटी में। तो नियर टर्म में ये ऐसा ही कंटिन्यू रहा तो रेवेन्यू पे इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है। तो ओवरऑल स्टॉक में हमारा इंडियन होटल्स पे बाय रेटिंग है, जो टारगेट प्राइस है वो 278 है, और शाले होटल पे भी बाय रेटिंग है, जो टारगेट प्राइस है वो 338 है। बाटा जो है वो अभी उनका जो ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंस है वो एक्सपांड कर रही है, और ये एक्सपांशन सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू हो रहा है, और उन्होंने बहुत सारी जो इंट्रोड्यूसिंग उनकी जो ऑफर और कस्टमर्स है उनके लिए वो सोशल मीडिया से कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं, और उनका प्लान है कि जो प्रेजेंटली जो इसके कारण डिजिटली 15% सेल इंक्रीज होना चाहिए रेवेन्यू का। ओवरऑल बाय रेटिंग है, और जो टारगेट प्राइस है वो 2181 है। नेक्स्ट अपडेट है बैंकिंग सेक्टर के ऊपर। एचडीएफसी बैंक और एचडीएफसी लिमिटेड की जो मर्जर की न्यूज आई थी वो ऑलमोस्ट अभी जो प्रोसेस है वो क्लोजर हो चुकी है, और इवन बीएसई और स्टॉक एक्सचेंज ने भी उनको नो एडवर्स ऑब्जर्वेशन और नो ऑब्जेक्शन का जो है वो 2 जुलाई को अप्रूवल मिल गया है। तो ओवरऑल जो ये डील होने के बाद दोनों के लिए पॉजिटिव न्यूज है, और बोथ स्टॉक पे हमारा रेटिंग बाय है, और जो टारगेट प्राइस है एचडीएफसी बैंक के लिए वो 2020 है, और एचडीएफसी लिमिटेड के लिए 3140 है। आरबीएल ने मुथूट फाइनेंस के जो 150 न्यू ब्रांचेस ओपन करने के लिए अप्रूवल दिया है, और अभी ग्रुप का जो कंपनी का जो ग्रुप है उसका नेटवर्क है वो 5443 से प्लस उनके ब्रांचेस है। तो ये उसके अलावा भी इनका जो प्रेजेंस है वो यूएसए, यूके, यूएई और श्रीलंका और सेंट्रल अमेरिका में भी है। ये एक पॉजिटिव न्यूज़ है मुथूट फाइनेंस के लिए, और स्टॉक के ऊपर हमारा बाय रेटिंग है, और जो टारगेट प्राइस है वो 1430 है। नेक्स्ट अपडेट है जो ऑटो सेल्स नंबर आए। ओवरऑल जो ऑटो सेल्स नंबर आए वो पीवी और कमर्शियल में अच्छे नंबर्स आए। तो हीरो मोटो का जो कंपनी है उसके जो सेल्स आए वो जून क्वार्टर में 3.34% से ईयर ऑन ईयर इंक्रीज हुए हैं। ओवरऑल उसके बाद महिंद्रा के नंबर्स भी जो व्हीकल सोल्ड हुए जून में वो 54,096 हुए हैं, और टीवीएस के भी जो ग्रोथ है वो 22% है जून में। तो ओवरऑल नंबर पीवी और कमर्शियल के अच्छा है, और हम लोग मारुति ऑटो सेक्टर में मारुति और एमएनएम के ऊपर पॉजिटिव है, और मिड कैप में सोनाकॉम और एसजीएस के ऊपर पॉजिटिव रिकमेंडेशन है। नेक्स्ट अपडेट जो जीएसटी के डेटा आया उस पे जीएसटी का जो जून का डेटा है उसमें 1,44,000 करोड़ का हाईएस्ट अभी तक, मतलब सेकंड हाईएस्ट कलेक्शन हुआ है अभी तक का। कोल इंडिया का भी कल कुछ ना अपडेट आया था, उसमें अप्रैल और जून में जो ग्रोथ है वो काफी अच्छी है, 29% से इंक्रीज हुई है, और उनका डिस्पैच भी काफी अच्छा है। भारत फौज ने एक जास ऑटो प्राइवेट लिमिटेड का एक्विजिशन कंप्लीट किया है, और उनके जो यूनिट्स है वो कोयम्बतूर में भी है। ओवरऑल ये आगे जाके भारत फौज को सपोर्ट करेगा। गवर्नमेंट ने जो टैक्स जो है क्रूड ऑयल पे उसके ऊपर एक अपडेट है तो इम्पोज किया है गवर्नमेंट ने, तो उसके कारण ऑयल इंडिया, वेदांता, ओएनजीसी इसके ऊपर हम लोग इम्पैक्ट दे सकते हैं। तो उनको $38 38% पर बैरल टैक्स लगने वाला है। इसके अलावा भी गवर्नमेंट ने एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर भी टैक्स इम्पोज किया है, तो रिलायंस, नायर जो लिस्टेड कंपनी नहीं है इसके ऊपर नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट है। और जो स्टैंड अलोन रिफाइनरीज है जैसे कि चेन्नई पेट्रोल, MRPL, उन पे भी हम लोग इम्पैक्ट देख सकते हैं। और गवर्नमेंट ने बोला है कि वो ये पॉलिसी मतलब जो ये है वो रिव्यू करेंगे एवरी 15 डेज में। सो रिलायंस ये लेवल पे वैल्यू बाय रहेगा। और जो प्रीवियसली जो GRM $6 रहते थे, अभी वो $30 to 35 के रेंज में है और जो सस्टेनेबल नहीं है। और जो ऑयल मेकिंग कंपनीज है उन्होंने नेक्स्ट 2 मंथ्स का जो फॉरवर्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है ऑयल का वो ऑलरेडी किया हुआ है, तो ये एक ऑयल मेकिंग कंपनी फोकस में रहेगी। नेक्स्ट अपडेट है, इंड्योरेंस ने 15% इक्विटी स्टेक मैक्सवेल प्राइवेट लिमिटेड में अक्वायर किया है और जो वैल्यू है वो 135 करोड़ है। मैक्सवेल एक कंपनी EV बिजनेस, एम्बेडेड बैटरी जो सर्विसेज है उसमें है और ये एक पॉजिटिव रहेगा इंड्योरेंस के लिए। SBI का जो गोल्ड लोन है उन्होंने 1 लाख करोड़ क्रॉस किया है, तो ये अभी तक का ह्यूज एक गोल्ड लोन है। ऑलरेडी SBI एक लार्जेस्ट हाउसिंग फाइनेंस में है, उसके बाद उनका जो इसका बुक साइज है लोन का वो भी इंक्रीज हुआ है गोल्ड लोन का। तो नेक्स्ट अपडेट है इंडिगो के लिए। इंडिगो के जो सैटरडे थे वो 55 फ्लाइट सैटरडे लेट चल रही थी क्योंकि एयर इंडिया ने पायलट्स के इंटरव्यू के लिए बुलाया था, तो बहुत सारे उन्होंने इंडिगो के पायलट्स के सिक लीव डाल के मोस्टली इंटरव्यू देने के लिए गए थे, तो इसका इम्पैक्ट इंडिगो को जो फ्लाइट्स है उसके ऊपर देखा गया। HAL के लिए भी एक पॉजिटिव न्यूज़ है कि वो तेजस का मलेशिया ने अप्रूवल दे दिया, तो ये फोकस में रहेगा और ये फर्स्ट चॉइस रहेगी वो मलेशिया की। बैंक्स के भी प्रोविजनल नंबर आए, तो ओवरऑल नंबर्स इंडसन और फेडरल बैंक ने अपडेट किए। नेक्स्ट अपडेट है पराग मेल के ऊपर। पराग मेल ने ह्यूज लॉस रिपोर्ट किया है, तो ये एक नेगेटिव है और इसके अलावा जो स्मॉल मिल्क कंपनी है उनके लिए भी नेगेटिव है। That's it from my end. Thank you everyone for joining the con call. Have a nice day.